Hi, Jody. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so happy to talk to you, and I have so much I want to ask you about. So I would love to start going back to the beginning of your career. So before starting your own business, you worked in corporate at Thompson and Omnicom. So how was your journey like?
It was actually wonderful. When I started out, everything was new. It was learning. I was learning from the best organizations about everything. And it was just a wonderful journey. I cannot stress how much I learned, how much better I am at what I do because of that.
And in terms of you had that career in corporate and then you make that shift and establish your own company. So how did you make such a shift after having such a wonderful career?
I think that, thank you very much. It has been a wonderful career. I've been blessed. And I think that one of the things that I didn't realize that came as a surprise to me was that as you really hone your craft and as you become better and better at what you do, you're kind of almost pigeonholed and you don't get to do other things. You don't get to have that continuous learning or a continuous journey. So things that you might want to try or do or succeed in or spread your wings on, you don't necessarily have that opportunity because you're so busy doing what you are hired to do, working within an organization. And I just felt like there was a lot happening. Digital presented so many opportunities. I wanted to do more, and I wanted to, most importantly, do things that didn't exactly exist already. And I had to leave. It wasn't even like a question. It wasn't even like a decision. It was this blessing and curse because it came from within. I had to.
It's a real brave move. So you mentioned about that you learn a lot in corporate. So what could you implement in your business from what you experienced
Oh
in
my
your
God,
career?
just everything. You learn how to deal with people. You learn about dealing with a lot of different challenges on a lot of different deadlines, working with large teams of people. So obviously these, to your point, these wonderful organizations that I built my career with, they had teams and teams of professionals. So you're learning and infusing all of the vast knowledge from other people, getting so smart, but also you have specialists that you can go to answer any questions that you have about anything. You become kind of spoiled, and as going off on your own without that vast brain trust and talent and teams. And if you become overwhelmed or you don't have an answer, you have somebody to reach out to that's working with you, alongside you, understanding the same challenges, the same client needs, the same body of work. It's a luxury. So you don't necessarily have that when you leave to foster your own career working on your own.
Yeah. So how do you build up a company from the ground and secure clients?
Well, funny story. So as I said, the things that I learned from working at these giants were just about everything. They're about the discipline, the programs, the new opportunities to learn the latest technology, as well as project management, as well as, wonderful things. So all of the education and foundational knowledge I had when I left to form my own organization. And as I said, it was just my passion that propelled me to do this. And of course, it doesn't necessarily count as a business if you don't have any clients. And I remember starting off, and I told my husband, I'm going into the city. I'm from New York and I'm going into the city. And he said, why? And I said, I'm going to find office space. And he said, well, why do you need office space? You have no clients. And I said, well, one day I will. And in my mind, I always was thinking of the next step. So the next step is you need to be in an office, you need to have clients, obviously. And I found an office, and every day it would take me about an hour and 15 minutes to leave my house, get on public transportation, get to my office where there was nobody there, and I would just pick up the phone and to call people. And I had a story to tell them. I had something that I was looking to do, something that would be of value to them. And I just spent my days on the phone trying to get people to listen to what I had to share with them, in the hopes that maybe they would feel like, yes, they were inspired by my passion, and they would give me an opportunity. And every day my mom would say, she would call me, so got any clients in? I'd be like, no, so it's just like, you have to just kind of get past the stigma, the work, the challenges of not having clients, to see someday you're going to have them. Someday you're going to need an office. Someday there will be more people around you because people believe in you. And I was fortunate that people did and still do believe in me.
So you mentioned you're a passion and you're
Mm-hmm.
very passionate about what you do. And so what else do you think, what other personal qualities you needed to secure clients when you were calling them on the phone, and some of them may have been even cold calls? How do you deal with that situation? What kept you going?
So your passion has to fuel you. Your passion is what gets people to embrace your ideas, give you that time, because they hear that in you. And the thing that I would recommend is, you cannot take rejection personally. It is all about cold calling. It's about networking, but it's not networking it's not artificial networking. It's networking because you truly believe that you have a gift to share with somebody. And that when they accept your gift, you're going to be helping them and helping yourself. So you're not trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes or talk to them about things that don't matter, because these things do matter. And you cannot be discouraged. People are going to be rude. People are not going to be interested. You have to leave every door open. And the most important thing that I can tell people is that by putting forth this effort and energy every day, it doesn't mean that the person or the people that you call that day are going to call you back or respond to you or give you an opportunity, but it might mean that somewhere else in the universe, that energy is going to come back to you in a different way that you never expected. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that story and I love your passion.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really inspiring. So what are the biggest challenges you face as an entrepreneur?
Oh my God, the biggest? They're all big. They're big. There's absolutely nothing unbig about anything, right? You have challenges when you have no business. You have challenges when you have too much business. And you never know, if you have too much business, if it's a good thing that you're stockpiling like nuts and squirrels, or if when you're not busy, it's a welcome breath of fresh air because you know you're going to get busy again. You just don't know. So there's a level of stress that's always built in. Okay. So if there's a lot of easier ways to build a career than being an entrepreneur. I will just tell anybody that. I was lucky enough in my life that I had a very supportive family behind me, very supportive. And also, I was at a point in my own life where my children needed less of me. So I didn't necessarily have to worry about things early on in my career when I had paid vacation, time off, personal days. I could do all of the things that I wanted to do and enjoy doing, like going on field trips and talking at career days at school, or just staying home if my children were sick. When you are in your own business, it's nice to think that you can do all of those things. But I think, and maybe it's just me, but the pressure that I put on myself to accomplish what I want to accomplish means that I never stop. So I was at a very great place in my life at the point that I did it.
And so you have two businesses, Achieve and Brandemix. Can you
Mhm.
talk about the work these companies do?
Sure. So in Brandemix, we are a branding and marketing agency with a very firm foundation in human resources initiatives. And the work that we do speaks to creating a talent brand, which is a very structured architecture from which you are establishing your value, your cultural value proposition. What is everybody doing and why are they doing it? And how are you doing it differently? So it's those very things that people are inspired about when they go to work every day, right? If you're working for a nonprofit, if you're working in a hospital, healthcare, if you're working in a for-profit and you're working in a job that you love, all of those things come into play in this structural foundation of culture. And what we do at Brandemix is take that foundation, and if we are doing it for marketing, we are creating awareness, consideration, preference, and action And those same steps that we take for human resources, awareness, consideration, preference, and action, are put to use as you go through the employee journey, from being a candidate all the way through to being in an organization where you're not looking to jump ship after 2 years because you're bored, you're stagnating, or you're just completely disengaged because you were sold one thing and it turns out the culture is something else. So we really do a deep dive into finding out the organizational culture and bringing it to life through strategic storytelling that touches every touch point in that journey.
So employer branding is the main activity or main
It's employer branding, recruitment, marketing, engagement, communications. It's starting off with that brand and then building out the assets and pivoting them in such a way that they are accomplishing really strong business initiatives. So it's not just changing colors or coming up with a catchy slogan. It's very strategic, and that's what we do. And we do it in a variety of different applications across a tremendous amount of media, publishing, and geography.
And you also have another business, Achieve.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that too?
Yeah, I don't really consider it a business. It's an organization that is a community of people that are committed to employee engagement. So putting together all of the elements, security, safety, well-being, all of the things that people need, learning, development, that foster greater engagement and commitment when they show up to work every day, right? So what motivates people, all of those things. So it's a very natural extension that went from my activities at Brandemix and talent branding for recruitment and talent acquisition. And when you follow it through the entire life cycle, it's wonderful to have this community, because I think you probably have already noticed that I just love that continuous learning. And what Achieve does is it provides all of our members, and we have more than 100,000 people that attend all of our webcasts, and back in the day when we were having live events and meetups, but we also do a tremendous amount of virtual events. So it brings people together. We have a tremendous body of thought leadership, content creation and curation. And because I do this on an every other week basis, I'm just exposed to so many wonderful people that are of a similar mindset to me, that are really doing groundbreaking work in culture and engagement for companies and organizations. I love it.
I love the idea. So how could people join, and who would you recommend it to join?
That's a great question. Thank you so much. So our website is achieveengagement.org. I recommend it for anybody that cares about culture, for anybody that cares about business, and anybody that cares about success. So we have CEOs, we have thought leadership from executive. We did a session a couple of weeks ago with the CEO president of WD-40, and he was just wonderful. It's people that are doing things in a very different way. Those are the stories that we want to hear from. Those are the examples that we want to bring forth. So anybody that's responsible, and certainly with what is going on right now, there's a tremendous desire for more help. People don't understand about how to do business during a pandemic because they never had to. People don't understand about how to make the most of employees and understand how to make sure that they're being safe and well when they're not coming to work every day. People don't understand how they can ensure that everybody feels like it's a culture that promises social justice and diversity, inclusion, safety, trust, well-being. These are all of the topics that we cover in Achieve webcasts, and all of the things that we bring to our community via this incredible thought leadership. I think that's of interest to everybody. Yeah, it is amazing. And it's free to be a member. I should say that too.
And you also wrote a book called Talent Brand. So how did you decide to write it, and how do you create emotional employee buy-in for an organization?
So the reason that I wrote the book is because I had so much valuable experiences that I could share with people, that I want to share with people. I want to help people. I have been helped, as I said in the beginning of our time together, I've been helped so tremendously by people that I have met and worked with, colleagues, people that I've worked for. I want to be able to give back to people. I wrote the book because not everybody has a budget where they can reach out to people like myself or agencies like Brandemix. So I wrote this book in a way of having people have the ability to give back. It's all about, it's the trade secrets. It's like having the secret recipe to the best brownies that you've ever made, and you just give out that recipe to everybody. And because here it is, because you're going to put your own touches on it. Your work will be different from my work, but in the end, you can have what I have if you have the time, if you have the passion, if you have the inclination to do it.
So how do you create emotional employee buy-in?
The first thing that you do is you make sure that whatever it is that you're saying is actually authentic. And that means that you're getting people that are already pre-bought into your culture and your organization. We believe in having no surprises, right? Your culture could be the worst culture that ever existed. And if you tell people this is the worst place, you're going to work 24 hours a day, you're going to be underpaid, there's no recognition, it's okay, because if people sign up for that, how could they possibly expect anything more, right? So authenticity, transparency is just, those are the table stakes, right? That way people know what they're getting and they're already pre-bought in when they sign on for that. It's just when you pretend to be one thing and then you find out that you're something else and you get there, it doesn't work out too well. So that is how people buy in. They buy in because they believe in what you're doing. They believe that what they're hearing about what you're doing is the truth. They sign up for this kind of contractual relationship. It's the give and the get, and that really is the employer value proposition. So this is what we are going to expect from you, and this is what we're going to give you in return. And you as an adult, you're going to agree to that. And that's the commitment, and that's where the passion comes in. That's where the emotion comes in. Now, granted, as I said, it's much easier for a nonprofit organization, healthcare, hospitals, Habitat for Humanity. Of course, people do want that rah, rah, rah. But if it is a hedge fund, if it is financial services, if it is ball bearings as an organization, or logistics, everything has a story. Everybody has employees that Monday morning are coming to work in the happiest, positive way. And that is what we delve into, what we create, what we promote, what we take away the features and the benefits of it, and really try and connect to that core. And that is what the book is about, and that is what we do in our branding work.
So transparency is really key in the process.
Yeah. Transparency, authenticity, also to remember that there's an emotive core. It doesn't just happen from features and benefits. When you think about products that you are connected to, when you think about Starbucks and what they did and how they went to market by building this culture of an emotive core. Come, stay, we're building a community. Come here. They changed the vocabulary of how you order coffee. They connected with people. They didn't say, we're serving the cheapest, the hottest, the darkest roast, or the most delicious. They created this passion for what it represented. That's what brands do. That is what we do. That's how we create that buy-in.
Shifting gears a little bit, what's on your radar at work these days?
Oh, wow. So yeah, this is a very exciting time. We are working on some fantastic branding projects and very exciting alignment with clients that are doing truly remarkable things in the world to make the world a better place. So their work inspires us to put forth our very best work. And on the employee engagement side, what we are looking forward to is we're doing a series of virtual lunch and learns in a very unique and different way, where people can come in, and it really does mirror the idea of going into an event and sitting around at a small table of 6 to 8 people and being able to chat amongst yourselves while listening to people on the big screen. And we're also going to be hosting a large virtual event around what that future of work looks like when we all do open up, hopefully next year, and get to a better place than we are perhaps where we are right now.
Which topics your clients struggling with the most?
I think it depends. So as you might expect, we have clients that are struggling because they cannot find the top talent that they need to run their business. And When I say top talent, what I mean is there are certain job categories that are very difficult to hire in. For instance, healthcare, nurses, in the nursing sector, hospice nurses or emergency room nurses. In all sectors, everybody is looking for technology, software engineers, cloud. There is an incredible technology transformation going on right now. And to that extent, everyone who's hiring is competing against the likes of Google and Facebook and Netflix and very large consumer brands that are very popular. But you have smaller, more entrepreneurial people that have very urgent needs in the same sector. They're trying to build out their brand. One of the things that I find interesting right now as this cultural anthropologist that I am is in the past, people had gone to the employer branding project as saying what a wonderful culture it is in which we work. We have foosball, we go out together, we have happy hour. Well, guess what? The virus has leveled the playing field. So now we can't go to market on our physical environment as part of our talent brand. So when you strip all that away, what do you have now? So I find that to be incredibly exciting, though the people that I'm working with on that might find it a bit challenging. We are helping them through that. On the engagement side, people, as I mentioned, are looking to foster closer connections. And as we are looking at the events such as benefit communications or arsenal of assets like employee handbooks and orientation, how do you feel and make people feel more closely connected in your vision, in your mission, in your values, and all of those things that people may have been aware of as words on a wall? Well, now we're living those words, right? So how do we connect people to that and make sure that they still stay engaged? So there's a lot of great challenges that people are looking for help with, how to connect people and make sure that we can tailor the collective voice socially. So people are sharing about what a great workplace culture that they have. How are we curating the stories? How are we getting employees to embrace the stories and share the stories either one-to-one, building a culture of recognition? I mean, with every client, it is different.
Can you talk about success stories in branding?
Success stories, they are all successful. So success is meaning different things to different people. One of the measures of success that I like to bring to the projects are the business metrics. So a successful recruitment project might be that you found someone and you found them for less money that you may have otherwise spent. A successful project might have been that you have found them for, you didn't have to go outside to an agency and pay a retainer. But a successful story might be that you have brought people together and saved people's lives. So those are the kinds of things that I like to look at. Like, what is the ultimate impact in the world? How are we helping our people? And how are we using metrics that a CEO might consider to be relevant? So did we find the people that are putting forth our mission? Faster, better? Are we keeping people engaged? Are they learning in their career? Those are all of the success stories that we have, and they're just different across the board.
And what are the best examples you have seen for how to build an employer brand that appeals to women?
Interesting question. And I think that one of the best examples that I had seen is that when you think about how you react, so first of all, you have to think about it in the eyes of the candidate experience. Where are they going to find their information? Why is this important to them? They're looking for women mentors, they're looking for women leaders. And what you have to do is you have to demonstrate. You cannot build a brand that you don't have. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to show that there are women in senior leadership roles within the organization. So do you have that? If you don't have that, why don't you have that? How are you going to operationalize your aspiration? Does that make sense? Because if you want to attract women, you have to have attracted women already. If you want to attract women already, you have to think in the minds of a woman, what do women want in the workplace? And it could be different in every factor through every person, but it's the same principles of branding apply. So if you do a focus group of women find out what they are looking for in their career. And then you slice and dice the data by job category, by age group. So when you're building out a brand, I know this is like a long-winded story, but you have to really get behind it. You can't build it if it doesn't exist. It has to first of all exist. You have to make sure that all of your efforts are aligned. Your charitable donations are aligned. Every single thing that you do embodies your quest to empower women in your own organization. So as for Brandemix, I am very passionate about women and empowerment and entrepreneurial and giving back, and my own personal charitable contribution that we devote time and money to each year is Kiva. And when I go through, and are you familiar with Kiva? It's
Yeah.
micro funding, so you can just donate money and assign people who are signed up because they are looking to start their own business as entrepreneurs and they need funding. And then sometimes organizations match our donations if you give to certain people. So it's great because you can carve out anywhere in the world. You can carve out by male, by female, and you can also carve out by what they're looking for the money to do. And my own belief is I'm always looking for women, and I'm always looking for women entrepreneurs who are looking to start their own business. And that's how I make my charitable contributions. So all of that needs to be aligned, and that's how you build a brand that is desirable for women.
And people who are listening who may have their own product or brand or company, what is your best advice on how to create a great brand? How can you stand out and how can you cut through the clutter?
When you have your brand, you understand the value that you bring. You remove your features and benefits, and you have gone through your competitive landscape. So you understand who are the people that are in your competitive pool, how you are different, not only how you are different, but how you are better, okay? And you really understand that. That's the first part of it. So the first part of it is, do you stand out? Are you better? Because remember, you have to be authentic, and that's the first thing. Are you working foundationally from all of the reasons, if you go down that list? Awareness, consideration, preference. Are you better? Are you better? Are you better? And how? You go through that list. And then that's the first part of it. And then the second part of it is you have to make sure that it's a very fragmented world. So every single person that comes in contact at every single point is aligned. So you have to really map out what those points are where you're coming into contact with people that could help promote you, right? And it's exponentially. So is every single thing being considered, or are you saying things that aren't really of value? And then if you got it all together, so that's the first part, and that's the lowest hanging fruit because you can do all of that in your mind, on paper, with the help of small focus groups and crowdsourcing. And then the second part of it is you just have to make sure that it's that same message everywhere. You have to, what I call, it's the tap, tap, tap approach. You have to make sure that you're tapping people. You have to make sure that they are tapped maybe 15 times. So I don't know if you have ever seen where you're looking for a new car and you go to a website and you search for the car, and then every other website that you go to, you see that car. And so those are the taps, right? Now, some people find that annoying. I absolutely love it because it makes my life easier. It may remind me that I was doing something that I needed to do, but I forgot to do. And now I have to go close out that loop. Or I'll get emails from a local store where I had searched for a particular product. And then 3 days later, they say, oh, are you still interested in this product? So I love that because everybody's busy. So now maybe you're feeling like I'm a helpful friend, right? And that's really all anybody wants is a helpful friend. So if brands learn how to become a trusted partner and a helpful friend by giving the best customer service, by making sure that it's an easy experience, by making sure that every interaction is providing more and more and more value, that's the best advice I can give anybody who's looking to be in that space.
And when there are events that nobody could anticipate, such as COVID, for instance, how that impacts all this?
I'm glad you asked because before the pandemic, I was always traveling. I was on a plane every single week, and my airline of preference is Delta. I love them, and I'm a frequent flyer with them, and I have a tremendous respect for the way that I'm treated. I love it. And now, who was hit harder? who was hit harder than the airlines, right? And in every week, Delta would reach out to me, not, and gosh, they have their own troubles, right? Flying's down by 75 to 80%. Nobody's on those planes. But in the messages that they sent to me, they were like, don't worry, you're not going to lose your status. You're not going to lose your free companion tickets. This is what we are doing to make sure that you are safe when you are ready to come back on our planes again. And some of it might mean that you're not going to be served an alcoholic beverage on the flight, but on the other side of it, we're not going to have anybody sitting next to you in that middle seat. That is what I mean. That's why I'm so impressed, because once again, here I'm worried about them, but they're worried about me, right? So that's what I mean about being there and connecting and feeling like Delta is my trusted friend, because they have just done an amazing job at really making sure that they are putting me first before them. And when I do get back on my plane, it will be Delta.
Shifting gears a little bit, so there are decisions that you need to make, of course, every day. Some decisions are small decisions, some are very big, and some of them have big impacts. So what was the toughest decision you ever had to make? It could be business, it could be any personal that having an impact on your business, for instance. So what was the most difficult decision you had to make?
I think when we deal in the most difficult or toughest, it just kind of depends on what comes into my mind at the moment. But I can tell you that it's very difficult in any circumstance to hire the wrong person and then have to let them go when you know that you have taken them away from a job that they were succeeding in and successful at to join you. Those are decisions that are very difficult to make. So hiring the right people to come on your journey with you is incredibly important, because it's very difficult to say goodbye to those people. For me, very difficult. So I can say that all of those things are very difficult. I can also say that when you are really being authentic to yourself, there are times when you have an opportunity to work for organizations whose products and services do not align with your own thoughts. And it's very difficult to walk away from those opportunities, because they're opportunities and you could need them to propel your business to the next step, but you have to be true to yourself. So those are those moments of truth, if you will, that I have encountered. And moments of truth is when you have to actually, you have a project and it's going sideways, and no matter what it is that you're doing and how hard you're working and how long you're working on it, you have to resign it, because it isn't going to be good for you, for your quality of life, for your well-being, for your health. All of those moments of truth, there's not one that's less difficult than another. And they are all points to consider when you are starting your own organization, because when you start your own organization, it might be because you are fantastic at something, and working with people, alongside people, communicating with people may not be part of your skill set at that point, or it may not even be something that you enjoy doing. So when you grow as an organization, you need to really continue to develop your own skills, because it doesn't mean that you get to do the same thing over and over again that you might be really good at or really love doing. There are things that you don't enjoy doing that you do have to do anyway.
Do you have any best practices on or advice on how to develop these skills that you may not have?
Definitely. There are so many wonderful communities out there. One of the best things is the technology and the opportunity that the internet offers us. And there are so many wonderful places that you can build those skills and talk with people, and people that are just valuable to guide you. I myself try and mentor people all of the time, and love when people ask for my advice and ask for my opinion on whether or not they should go after certain pieces of business, because maybe it is not the right business that they should, or how do you get out from being very task driven so that you can grow and have people working under you. And I just think that LinkedIn groups, LinkedIn Learning, all of the communities, all of the classes, YouTube, anywhere that you would normally go to find out anything, you can find out anything that you need. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then if you haven't found it out, or if you prefer a more direct outreach, just find people and reach out to them, and don't be afraid. It's the same skill like getting new business and new clients, but it's probably the one that's most important, to find a mentor. Reach out and find a mentor, and find somebody that will help you and give back.
So you are an extremely accomplished woman. What are you most proud of?
I think professionally, because personally I'm proud of a whole host of other things, but I am professionally most proud of what I have what I have achieved. The fact that I have had a business that has withstood horrible, devastating events, and we have thrived and persevered and maintained continuity. I have worked with incredible people. I am proud that people have chosen to align with me, both clients and professionals that have chosen to work with me, and I'm very grateful for what I have accomplished with them together. I'm really proud of that.
And what does success mean to you right now?
Success means that I'm in a position where I can do wonderful work among wonderful people for wonderful clients, and still have an opportunity to live my best life when I'm not working and give back. I am really grateful and really lucky.
And the last question is, you are obviously very, very busy. So how do you take care of yourself?
Oh my. So yeah, well, that assumes that I do, but I try to. But yeah, I know I have to. I First of all, I love to work. So um, taking away the work, taking care of myself just means what it means for everybody, right? So you have to maintain that wonderful balance of exercise, of gratitude, of love, caring. I have a wonderful family. I have dogs that you may have heard of earlier, may have heard from earlier. I love that. I get out. I stay connected with great friends, great people, my great family, and exercise. And did I say that I may on occasion have a glass of wine? So I do all of that.
That's a great way to relax. Thank you so much, Jody, for taking the time today. I loved your story and I find you very, very inspiring. And
Thank you.
thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. And I hope somehow I've helped anybody who might be listening.